time for the MotoAmerica AMA FIM North American Road Race Championship. This round is MotoAmerica Superbikes at New Jersey from Millville at New Jersey Motorsports Park. We also call it NJMP. I'm Greg White, sitting alongside Jason Pridmore. Hannah Lopel will be joining us later as it's time to go racing. Junior Cup, our final round of the season for race number 1. And it is tricky conditions today. Well, Jason Pridmore, Avery Dreyer, he won this championship after a DQ last round.
Yeah, and it's such a shame, Greg, because when you win the championship, you want to be there with your team and your family and everybody else. And you see him cross the line here at Pittsburgh. And it was only after the race that we come to find out that there was a disqualification and he would go on and be our 2023 Junior Cup champion.
And he found out later at pit race in the day and hasn't had a chance to get his number 1 plate, but that's a first place trophy for him back in August. But for Avery Dreyer, let's take a look at what his progression was like over this season, Jay, because he starts off so strong, 3 wins, and he never gave up the championship lead all year.
No, he did fantastic. You can see that 0 there. That was at Brainerd. He had a tough weekend at Brainerd, but he bounced right back at Pittsburgh. You can see the wins there at the top of your screen. This guy was very deserving as the year continued to unfold.
And Hannah Lopel had a chance to catch up with your new national champion, Avery Dreyer.
For Avery Dreyer, he is having a breakout season in the Junior Cup with 6 victories thus far, 2 more chances here this weekend. But after a disqualification of another rider last round, it promoted Avery to champion. Avery, now that you've had a little bit of time for that to kind of sink in, what are your thoughts? How you feeling?
Man, I'm just overwhelmed with happiness, really. It's been a dream of mine to, win a national championship, and I've worked so hard for it, and it kind of came unexpected. I was expecting to win the championship at Pittsburgh, honestly, but after they came in and told me I won the championship because of the infraction, it just took a minute to set in. But when I got home and really thought about it, it all hit me. It's just really exciting, and it's really great that I achieved my goal.
Avery Dreyer looking to finish out this championship season on a high note, guys.
Yeah, he certainly is, and he's doing double duty. Speaking of national champs, Royal Enfield's Build Train Race national champ Michaela Moore, who comes off of a perfect season, 7 wins out of 7, lines up for the first time in Junior Cup. You're going to want to cheer on this young lady. Stay with us.
Yeah, talking about Michaela there was a shot of her on that Royal Enfield Continental 650, and about as different a bike as you can imagine here. And now she steps up into Junior Cup, and talk about a pressure cooker. Won this level of field, and then these conditions.
Yeah, these conditions. She's got a lot to learn really quick, but I think it's going to be a good opportunity for her to get out there, and she hasn't did the whole year, so she doesn't have to worry about points and just get out there and get her feet wet, literally, in the Junior Cup class, and also get some experience in the rain. You hear a lot of riders talking about, I don't have a lot of rain experience. So this gives her the opportunity to get out there and get a little wet riding in.
Absolutely, and in both of the sessions in her debut was up in the top 20. So not a bad debut for her. And as she gets more experience on these bikes, she's going to be a factor. I mean, I think she's got lots of potential here, and she is a really stout racer and snaps the visor down. But we've got a great field coming up here, and keep in mind, Eli Block qualified 5th in the dry. He blew the field away in qualifying this morning.
MotoAmerica Junior Cup coverage is brought to you by Geico Motorcycle. Visit geico.com to see how easy covering your ride can be. And by Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series.
We're back, and Michaela Moore having a conversation with Kayla Yakov. 2 race winners in their own right. Of course, that Build Train Race 2023 national champ. And Michaela Moore getting ready for her race debut.
Pretty cool. Like seeing
awesome.
Michaela here. I love it. I mean, coming straight from the Build Train Race, you get a start. Look at our grid here. Levy Batty, Avery Dreyer, Rossi Moore on the front row with Max Van, who tipped off in the warm-up lap. Also, Eli Block, DeMario there, and then we got Bickney, Chapin, and Medina. Fernandez, Logan Monk, and Ivan Rivera. A little further back, Salem, Singh, and Woodworth. And then row 6, we got Renee Franco back there. And there's Michaela Moore, Mascaro, Hollingsworth, Muchler, Barber, and Solly Mervis. Gendron, Kennison, Weth, and Rivera.
Quite a few of these riders
Andrew Way,
getting new experiences this weekend. Whether either it's the motorcycle, the track, or in wet conditions. Now, we haven't seen rain in a while, Jason. It's kind of misting out. But in terms of like soaking the racetrack, it looks like it's still definitely wet, but the puddles and all that stuff have seemed to stabilize a little bit, but it's still going to make it very tricky conditions. Here in Junior Cup, we are scheduled for 10 race laps.
Yeah, and it's the biggest grid that we have, I think, on the weekend, because we've got, what, 8 rows, 9 rows, and so the mist is going to be pretty big down in turn 1. If you're from about row 3 back, row 4 back, visibility is going to be difficult. Here we go.
Everybody's got full wet tires on. We call them rains, and when this light goes off, we're rolling. Here we go, and it looks like a decent launch from the front row. Avery Dreyer on the 99, your new national champion. He got a good launch. He's trying for position, but who's going to go in? Rossi Moore, is he going to give it a go? He's got a lot of European riding experience. Oh, but up the inside. Who is that, Jason, that goes into the lead?
Can't see from
here. Is that Eli Block, perhaps?
Very well could be, because that's a bold move into turn 1 to get that position. And I'm not sure. It's definitely not Levy Batty, correct? So just having a look.
And you can see not the aggressive riding.
82.
So it is 92. Eli Block. So it's Eli Block who takes over the lead, and a good run out of Middlefield, Connecticut on that Team ECB Bartcon Racing Ninja 400.
Yep.
And Eli Block has definitely been close to the sharp end of the spear all weekend, both in the wet and the dry.
Yes, he has. And so this is a great start, though, for him. And you can see this field is already getting a lot more strung out at the front than we would normally see in this class. You see Rossi Moore, as you said, back there in 4th. Max Van back there as well. Avery Dreyer made his Twins Cup debut this weekend as well and had a problem in that race. So he does have a little bit of race time in the wet today, Greg, in conditions similar to this. But like you said, to your point before the race started, definitely not seeing as much rain as we saw earlier. We're still seeing a little bit of puddling, but Avery Dreyer doing a nice job right now.
And Levy Batty, the 71 on the Batty Racing Ninja 400 out of East Flanders, Belgium, back there in 3rd spot. But it's that bad boy racing Avery Dreyer out of Florida. Boy, if there was anybody who wanted to win a race more than Avery Dreyer, I would question it, because he would like nothing more than to be able to stand on top of the podium. As we know, he'll be getting his #1 plate for winning the championship after this race in Winner's Circle, regardless of his result.
Yeah, that's great to see. And Eli Block has a look over his shoulder, sees just the national champion is just behind him right now. A lot of race to go, but you can see what Eli's done here. He's really separated this field early. The gap between 1st and 4th right now is 4.3 seconds. So for him, it's been a really nice quick start.
Now let's welcome in Hannah Lopa, 3rd member of our team, on what's going on with Max Van.
Currently circulating the track in 5th position, but he had a tip over on the sliding lap. He pulled into the pit lane. It looked like there was some grass and mud. They took a once over of that motorcycle, and the pit lane was still open, so they sent him back out, and he did make it out in time to do the warm-up lap and make the start of this race, and you'd never know it by how he's running right now.
Yeah, that's something you got to put behind you, Jay. I mean, the adrenaline rush of falling off a motorcycle, and then you got to get right back on and start a race. It's one thing if you're in the middle of the race.
The good news is that when you tip off on a siding lap or a warm-up like that, we've seen it a couple times today in other classes, the bikes generally come away from it okay. They get in that grass, and there's not a lot of parts ripped off it. We've seen some riders today even tip off in the races and be able to pick their bikes up and continue and still get a decent result. So that is the advantage. You see Levy Batty now starting to make a run on Dreyer. Block just got that little bit of gap, doesn't he, right now? But Levy Batty has a 1st split and 2nd split on our screen has gone red. So he's definitely quicker than the 2 in front of him right now. So we've seen Levy win a couple races already this year, and he looks hot to try to get another one.
And Eli Block, you'd have to say, judging from his riding style, Jay, I'm going to guess that guy has done some motocross racing in his day.
Well, these conditions, you're going to see people a lot more centered, just because this place also, Greg, isn't one that you're going to have a ton of lean angle in the wet. So the wind right now is really an issue too. The wind is going to be pushing these guys down the front straightaway. So just looking out outside of our commentary box right now, I can see the flags and things really blowing, the trees across the way. So when they get down into turn 1, they got to be really careful, because not only are they dealing with obviously a very wet track, as Batty now takes a shot at Dreyer, not going to be there quite enough, but not only do they have to deal with the the racing down there at the end of the straightaway, but they got the wind pushing them in there as well.
Yeah, and for these Junior Cup bikes, these are the lightest motorcycles we have in all the classes.
That's right.
And so for these bikes, they're going to be affected more by the wind. And of course, Jason, you know that the wind, like you said, is pushing them. It's a tailwind down the front straightaway, but eventually it turns into a headwind and a crosswind and a side wind because we're on a road race course.
Right.
All right, so 153.065 on lap number 2, our first lap at speed. That's credited as the fastest lap of the race so far to Levy Batty, the 71, back in 3rd spot. Rossi Moore back in 4th, has dropped back by already 8 seconds. And then Jaden Fernandez, Max Van is now in 6th, Yandel Medina in 7th, Ivan Rivera in 8th, Dylan Singh in 9th place, and Logan Monk in 10th.
Look at the gap, though.
That was so fast.
The gap is crazy between the first 3, and then this guy, Rossi Moore, who we have also seen win races this year. And like you say, Rossi's done some racing overseas. I'm sure it's not the first time he has seen rain conditions, but Jaden Fernandez now doing a really good job. And Max Van just going backwards a little. We saw him in 5th or 6th earlier. Now Jaden Fernandez is starting to go forward. And we see Medina here on the 39. So he's jumped up a couple of spots as well. But this is what happens in these rain conditions, doesn't it, Greg? Like, you'll see people that might qualify on the 3rd or 4th row moving forward. Logan Monk now, you see him in 10th on our screen from the lap prior, but he's already got through some guys, got past some people. So Logan Monk on his way forward as well.
So about 6.5 laps to go in this 10-lap affair. Eli Block leading Avery Dreyer, Levy Batty, as they came across the stripe. And now it's Rossi Moore, Jaden Fernandez, Medina, Jesse James. So Jesse James Shedden out of California on the Carnes Performance bike, also spending a lot of time in Europe, has been fast in the rain as well as Logan Monk. Max Van really starting to slide back there. Rivera in 10th place. So we're starting to mix up there in the back 10. The top 3, 51.560, fastest lap of the race for this rider right here, number 92. Eli Block on the team, ECB Bartcon Racing entry. And Hannah, what do you know about the 92?
Well, Greg, you mentioned earlier he's from Connecticut, so he's pretty comfortable with these tracks in the Northeast. We saw him at Pitt and New Jersey last year, Pittsburgh again this year, but as far as his rain experience, he doesn't have a lot of it. However, he did race at the Loudon Classic earlier this year. We know the weather was treacherous at that round, and he fared pretty well, so that was definitely a good kind of litmus test for a weekend like this.
Certainly is, Hannah, when you have a weekend like that. It's like Levy Batty now is really pushing to try to go up the inside of Dreyer. He's tried it all the way through this turn, and he's going to make the pass, Greg, to see if Dreyer can do anything with him. He can't, so Batty, who's got some pace right now, we saw him yesterday slide off in turn 1, and he's done it again now in turn 10. So Batty was pushing hard to try to get to the front. Now that battle behind him that you saw for 3rd, with all those different riders, look at the lead they had, Greg. Rossi Moore still hasn't gone by. It was 14 seconds, and it doesn't look like he's going to be able to get that bike started. Or maybe the linkage.
Off.
Maybe the linkage.
It might be something
came off
on
the left side. He looked down, didn't he, and saw something.
Asking too much of just the lean angle with the grip right there. It just comes around.
Just loses the rear of the bike.
I can see right there,
there's
Jay.
the linkage. Hanging off the bike. So that's what breaks. And Levy Batty's race is over. So that's going to promote.
No foot peg.
It's going to promote Rossi Moore. But Rossi Moore has got a lot of company with Fernandez, Medina, Monk, Jesse James there, as you say, Max Van, Rivera. They are all in a tight group.
So some drama on the racetrack as Eli Block continues to lead this one after doing a 151.054. It's Avery Dreyer and Rossi Moore, your top 3. So Eli Block starting to get more comfortable, Jason, seeing his body position become a little bit more animated as he heads off into the corners. And for Avery Dreyer, he's just kind of sitting there. But the one thing we do know by looking at our timing and scoring screens is that there are yellow splits all across the board for each rider. And when we look at our timing and scoring, we have 4 sectors that this racetrack is broken up into. If we see red come up, that means it's the fastest of the race. Yellow means personal fast. And everybody's starting to get more comfortable. You're starting to get lighter motorcycles with reduced fuel loads, but really, Jay, it's more about finding the traction. Where is it? And in those sections that gives you more grip, What are you going to do with it? As the 13, Jaden Fernandez, makes a move around Rossi Moore for position. So Fernandez, who we have seen the last couple races really start to come out and make a name for himself.
Yeah, didn't we see Jaden on the podium at Brainerd, I believe? So Jaden's doing a really nice job here in the wet on the 13. He goes by Rossi Moore, and then, you know, you got a couple more. Medina is right there behind Rossi Moore as well at the moment. Logan still looks super relaxed there on the 11 as well. So this is that battle for podium, and I'll tell you, Greg, if you don't think these kids know that it's a podium, especially the ones that maybe have never been up there, you know, this is important for them as Logan Monk gets a nice run on Medina as they come out of the last corner. So let's see if he can do anything down that front straightaway. Medina moves over to the right. Monk is just to his left now, but he's not going to be able to make that pass. So nice run for him, and just behind him, Jesse James shedding, like you said, there in 7th.
And last time by, your leader Eli Block, fastest lap of the race again, keeps lowering the mark to a 150.650, where Jaden Fernandez, the number 13, went by his personal best lap, a 153.5, with Rossi Moore, who got passed on that lap, Jason, set his fastest lap of the race at a 54 flat and 53.6 for Medina. So everybody continues to go quicker. It's a matter of who's going exponentially quicker. As you have now, the two leaders up front are battling back and forth with fastest sector times as we continue to focus on this battle for third, the final spot on the podium.
Yeah, and right now, Jaden's just trying to pull the gap out ever so slightly. You can see, just trying to get away. And, you know, Greg, with every lap, you get confidence in these conditions. Your confidence increases, but the edge gets so much closer, and it's so much easier to make small mistakes. As now you can see Logan Monk trying to go up the inside, see if he can get in there and get past Medina. It looked like he was trying to make that pass, and here it comes onto the front straightaway. Monk's got a nice lead as he looks over his shoulder. He's going to have probably close to 3 seconds, and Dreyer is down, Greg. Dreyer looks like he is down.
4 laps to go as Eli Block continues to lead the way. But our question is, where's the 99 of Avery Dreyer? He was there, but we didn't see him come across the stripe, Jason.
Just in the back of our shot when they came on the front straightaway, I could see something. And right now, if you look, you're going to end up seeing him come across the back end of there, and he lost the front in the last corner. Avery Dreyer loses the front of that Kawasaki, and he is off and down in the last corner here. So now Eli Block's lead, Greg, get this, 24 seconds as he runs the fastest lap of the race. So he's gonna come across the line and go from +3 to a +24 on his board. So that's gonna come as a shock here to the 92, but he has got a massive lead now.
Is that another rider down, Hayden Bickney's, I think I saw there, the 69?
It could have been. They're starting to get into some back markers now, and some of these guys, like you say, Greg, a couple of them might have tipped off already, but Eli Block's pace is wild right now. He's done a 50.4 that last time by. The next best I see on the screen is a 53.4, so 3 seconds for Eli Block right now from fastest to fastest. And we've seen some really good riders come through BartCon. That team, they've been around now for a few years. I believe Dom Doyle rode for them for a while. So we've seen some really good riders come out of this camp. And they got another one right now with Eli Block.
Eli Block has only been with us for the last couple of races.
And he just looked over to the left and he saw Dreyer. He saw Dreyer. He looked over to the left to see who had crashed. And I think he's probably going to know now, and I'm sure his team put out there that he's got a, you know, basically a 30-second lead.
As we wait for second place, this is the size of the lead that Eli Block has. And Eli Block this season, 17th in the standings, only scoring 16 points in the 2 races. He had 7th place finish and a 9th place finish last time we were racing. And this is, Jay, that's second place.
Second place. And how about Logan Monk now?
27 seconds.
Has got himself up into 3rd place as he's also gone through on Rossi Moore. Medina is still back there behind Rossi, but Monk moving forward also. And he looks like he's got pace. I mean, he's got pace over Jaden right now. It looks like it's very easy for the 11 as he looked down the inside and then thought better of it himself but Monk has a lot of pace.
Let's get to Hannah.
You know, it's definitely a different running order than we've seen in the past, and they do say the rain is the great equalizer, but I wanted to take a minute to point out this is the Junior Cup, and so many of these riders don't have any experience riding in conditions like this, you know. Jaden Fernandez, Yandel Medina, Jesse James Shedden making his MotoAmerica debut here this weekend, so definitely done a lot of different things in his career, but rain isn't necessarily one of them. Michaela Moore, who's our Royal Enfield champion, making her Junior Cup debut. She hasn't had a lot of experience running around in the rain either, so it's definitely a steep learning curve, and while maybe not be the result that some of them hoped for, it's a huge learning experience.
Yeah, and some of the riders that we normally see up front, Alessandro DiMario back in 16th place behind Michaela Moore. We've seen some of the riders, Jay, fall off.
Yep.
This is, you know, Max Van, who's normally a front runner, back there in 9th place. I mean, rain definitely can do a lot of things, whether it's your confidence in how the bike feels, the setup of the motorcycle, or just bad luck as another rider
red
goes
flag
down.
now. We got a red flag, and I'm looking to see what bike that is. That
Is that?
I don't
Gendron,
even want
maybe?
to. Don't want to say who that is.
Yeah, we'll have to see who that rider is. It's red flag conditions now for
This,
Junior Cup race
he
one.
was in the last sector, and that's the one. That's the thing that worries me for a minute here. All right, so it looks like, is it bike number?
Oh yeah, it's Renee Franco.
Oh, Renee.
Yeah, Renee Franco just
Yeah.
got some bad luck there, and the rear end snapped around. And for Franco, she hit the deck pretty hard.
She landed straight on her stomach, so let's hope she's okay.
All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll get this whole thing sorted out. Junior Cup race number 1 under red flag conditions.
All right, red flag conditions here due to the off by the number 12 of Renee Franco. And it was kind of an awkward off for the young rider out of Terryville, Connecticut on the Team RFR Bouse Racing Kawasaki Ninja. So under red flag, and Roger, I just took a look. Temperature is about 65 degrees, and with this rain coming down, the track has gotten cold, and we just now get word that this race has been declared complete. There's a certain percentage point, once you pass that, you can declare it complete. And I think that's wise for two reasons. One, the temperature's dropping, the track's cold, and we were talking about that. Also, I'm checking the weather again, and a pretty heavy rain supposed to come back in here for a little while in about 5 minutes. So by the time they got this going, it could be absolutely pouring.
Yeah, and the big thing for me is that the track temperature dropping.
Yeah.
You know, I know how coming here, this track has been, we've came here cold before and in the wet, and you know, a lot of guys were going down, so it's just the way it is, and it's just safer for these kids. They weren't really going to change a lot of positions anyways, and they can call the race. And Eli Block, what a great story. Was fast this morning in the Q2, and the way, look, he's trying to figure it out right here. This is the best part. He's trying to figure out, am I winning? Did I win? Did I win? I think I won.
Yeah, you know, it's a little frustrating because you want to be able to celebrate on that victory lap, but he's still kind of wondering here. But you were right. I mean, 2.7 seconds he was quicker than the field in the morning qualifying session in the wet. And look at him.
Let's follow him so we see when he gets the when they tell him he finally won.
Yeah,
he's asking, did they call it? Did they call it?
all the way all the way down pit lane. He was going, is it over? Is it over and over? And then the moment hit. Wow. And for this guy, obviously, he doesn't race the full season, and you know, probably due to some budgetary issues and just trying to make it happen. And what a race he just rode.
What a race. And, you know, leading your first race is really hard.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because you don't have that experience, and you're like the stress and the pressure, and you're trying not to make a mistake, and it's easy to make a mistake, especially in the conditions like we had today. So that was a really impressive ride, and you know, puts a lot into his program. So it's cool to see him come here and get that win, and you can see what it means to him. You see, you know, Ben Glotty there, all kinds of other riders came to the podium, and you know, going to congratulate him, and they know what it means to him. There's Gus Rodeo. So it shows you what your peers think about you when you get on the podium and get your first win. How many of them come to the podium
Right.
to celebrate with you?
Yep. And, you know, in these conditions, you know, as we say, it's the great equalizer and it's treacherous. And if you've got the real feel, you could do something special. And he did. It was absolutely a remarkable ride. After Avery Dreyer went down, as they said, his margin at that point was 30 seconds back to Jaden Fernandez that took over the second spot. And so just amazing pace out there. I mean, he was consistently running laps 3 to 4 seconds faster than anybody else. That's unbelievable.
And also, he was fast in the dry as well. He was in the top 5 yesterday, but you're right. And just never make a mistake like that. You know, like I said, it's really hard to be in the lead. And early in the race, the pit board says +0, and he still never put a wheel wrong.
Yeah.
So it was just a really good ride for him, and now he knows he can do it.
Yeah, dealt with the pressure, you know, when he had it beautifully, eased away, and eventually ended up with a big margin. There's a good look at Jaden Fernandez, who's going to be celebrating the second step up on the podium in a great ride. There's a look at Eli Block. And, yeah, that was just a masterful ride here, and good for him. Good for him. And, you know, obviously, you were talking about it, you know, it's contract time, and for these young riders, it's opportunity to maybe get somebody to step up and help you to be able to run a full season
And also
get after it here. Yeah.
to go to sponsors.
Yes.
You know, hey, I won this race. Can you help me?
Yep. He certainly seems to deserve it. Hope he gets the opportunity. A winner here in the wet at Jersey.
MotoAmerica Junior Cup coverage is brought to you by Geico Motorcycle. Visit geico.com to see how easy covering your ride can be. And by Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series.
Back at New Jersey Motorsports Park, this race is done and dusted. And the first one for Eli Block. And what a run and what a race win. You don't think that that's a happy kid? Certainly is. Let's take a look at those results to get you up to speed on what happened. It's a little short, but Eli Block, Jaden Fernandez, and Logan Monk. What a podium! We have Rossi Moore, then Medina, Shedden, Rivera, Cunnison, and Max Van, your top 9. Let's get right down to Hannah with our winner.
For Eli Block, he won in a dominant fashion. It's not only his first victory in the class, it's his first podium in general. Take us through that race.
Yeah, you know, I've came out here, I've ran a lot, you know, it's been a long time coming. I've been doing this for 3 years, and came back this year. You know, Colin from BartCon helped me out so much this year, got me back into where I needed to be, and you know, so pretty much it's, you know, the race was awesome. You know, I got a good start, went from the second row up to the first, and you know, I can't thank everyone enough. You know, the race was awesome. I hope Avery, I hope Renee, and everyone that crashed today is okay. You know, it sucks seeing people crash, but I got to thank all my sponsors, Team ECB Racing, Motor Race, BartCon Racing. There's so many people I got to thank, but thank you guys so much for everything. Alpha Omega, Bell Helmets, Anthem Leathers, you know, everyone, thank you guys.
What was the biggest takeaway from this race, and do you think that you could do the double again tomorrow?
You know, if it rains again, I think I can. You know, I love this rain. A little bit different from practice this morning. I felt really good. It was my first time riding rain here. You know, I haven't had a lot of time on the 400 on the rain, but, you know, I think I got it tomorrow.
Congratulations. Moving on over to second place, Jaden Fernandez, your second podium of the season. Take us through that race. How are the conditions out there for you?
It was kind of a shaky start. Went back. A lot of people got by me. And then I just started to pick people off, take it slow, and just figure things out. I didn't want to make a stupid mistake in the beginning and just throw it all away. Just really being focused on there. The conditions felt a little different than this morning, so I thought it was just the best course of action was to just stay up on 2 wheels, get some points. I didn't think a podium was possible, but I'm definitely happy with it. I want to thank everyone that's been helping me out. Mike Renau with Inspection Specialties, Walt Vogel with Rocky Mountain View Dental, RT Mechanical, American Supercamp, KYT, IMI Motorsports, High Plains Raceway, Spears Racing, everyone that's been helping me out. It's been a fun first year, and hopefully we can do it again tomorrow.
It certainly takes a village. Now, is there anything that you would like to change or improve upon for tomorrow's race?
The bike felt pretty good. I mean, it really depends on the conditions, so I don't know if I'd change much, but just keep it on 2 wheels again.
Congratulations, second place for Jaden Fernandez, and rounding out your podium for the first time in his Junior Cup career, Logan Monk. Logan, how was that race for you?
Oh, it was amazing. I was just working my way through the pack. I hope everybody that crashed was all right. Really fun battling out there with Jaden and the other guys. Overall, it was a great race.
How are you liking this track in general, let alone in these rainy conditions?
I like the track. I'm really good in the wet, but yeah.
What is it that makes you so strong in the wet that kind of gave you the advantage here today and led you to this podium?
I think it's just confidence in the bike and the tires and everything else.
Any sponsors you'd like to thank?
Yeah, Vortec, Motion Pro, Bison. Huge shout out to SWG Motorsports. Anybody else?
Got them all in there on the list. Congratulations, Logan Monk, rounding out your Junior Cup podium, guys.
Well, you can certainly see that some of these racers, it's their first time doing an interview, and hopefully for these three, we're going to see them a lot more on the podium in the years to come. What a way to do it, though, with 2 races to go in the season, now with 1, and very tricky conditions. And Jason, Hannah said it, it is the great equalizer.
Yeah, no question. The rain with what happened here today, and it's funny, like you say, listening to the interviews of the kids that are on the podium for the very first time. Hopefully they'll get used to being up there again. I thought, they were very respectful, especially to some of the down riders and things. But for this guy here, Eli Block, great first win for him. Obviously to do it, it sounds like in front of a home crowd too. So for him to get this win here in the rain, he'll be tough again tomorrow, Greg. I mean, for the lead he had at the end of the race was incredible.
Yeah, he definitely did. So let's take a look at those championship standings. As we know, for the 99 of Avery Dreyer, after the disqualification of Rossi Moore at the last event, that Avery Dreyer is the champion. But Max Van now 1 point away from Moore and Hayden Bickney's as those three battle it out tomorrow for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th in this championship. That ought to be very interesting to keep track of.
Tomorrow that'll be the thing that we will keep track of. 2 points separating 3 guys. So yeah, that's going to be, especially if the conditions are the same as they were today.
Well, hopefully we'll get a chance to see Avery Dreyer and his #1 plate tomorrow, if he's able to get the bike back up and running. Well, Jason, what are you going to do? The thing is, with this smaller class, there's not a ton of stuff that can be done from wet to dry, but what do you think about tomorrow in the wet race? Because Eli Block put on a commanding performance.
We already know what he's going to do. They're going to be able to look at some lap times, look at some sector times, see if they can make their bike a little better and go from there.
Well, it certainly was a fun Junior Cup race #1, and it was a crazy one. What's going to happen next time when these racers get to the racetrack? It'll be our final Junior Cup race for 2023, and you don't want to miss it. For Hannah Lopa and Jason Pridmore, I'm Greg White. Thanks so much for joining us. Is it going to rain tomorrow? Will it be dry? Who's going to win? We can't wait to find out. We'll see you then.